morning, everybody. Good morning. This is Apostle Crystal Lee. Excited to be here this morning. Excited to be back to the place where things are simpler or more accessible. Uh, I'm just excited this morning. We got the chords. You can see that, right? Because the music was playing this morning. So we're back on task here. But thanks be to Yah who allowed us to process through the challenge and reminded us that we need to be diverse. We need better diversity, better diversification, so that when things arise, we're not in shock, right? We're able to move and to be agile and just to continue the work that we've been given. God bless you, Elder Vicky. I see Elder in the room, waiting on the rest of you guys to announce yourselves. Come on in the room. You can announce yourselves. Go ahead. Go right ahead and let me know that you're here this morning. Let me know that you are here this morning. It's an exciting time to be alive, I promise you. So many amazing things are happening. So many. It's hard to keep up with. It's hard to keep up with all of the amazing things that are happening with the sons in this season. And we're just really in that space of countdown right now. We're in the space of countdown. This is the Dirty Little A Word Part 5. This may be the end. I don't know. We might be coming to a close on the Dirty Little A Word, but I want it to be in your spirit that adjustments have to be made, because a lot of people are not paying attention to the fact that they have to make the adjustment. I mean, I don't know. I think people are just feeling like things are going to fall out of the sky. I don't know. It's an adjustment inside that has to be made. You're waiting on an adjustment to be made outside of you when there's an adjustment inside of you that must take place. And we know this is true because the master, when he was in his earthly trek, hey, my brother is in the room with me this morning. He was in his earthly trek. He understood the need for adjustment. And in his understanding of the need for adjustment, listen, I'm going to make this work for us. Give me 1 second because I know. Oh, there we go. Okay. That will definitely work. That will definitely work. Okay. Let's do that. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing behind the scenes, but that's okay. I want y'all to be all right. All right. All right. Because I want to make sure that this thing is working for us today. That it's working for us. Good morning, Apostle. I see my brother, Apostle Ben. Ace Ben.
Shalom.
Listen, my brother, Apostle Ace Ben Coon. You know how they say Ace Boon Coon.
Shalom and grand rising. Good morning to everyone.
Good morning, brother. Good morning. He's in the room. I know Prophet Marlise is working her way into the room this morning. I'm excited to have you this morning with me, brother, and excited to have this conversation with you. I needed some extra color this morning in the room for this conversation. And we have these conversations all the time. So I wanted them to be able to be a partaker of the conversations that we're having in the back, in the green room. Okay. Because I believe it'll bless their lives this morning. So thank you for being here with me this morning. One of the things, okay, first of all, we're in day 89 of prayer and day 84 of the fast. I believe that's correct. You can fact check me, Elder Vicky. I know you'll get me together if I have erred in that situation there, but I believe that's where we are. And we've been talking about this dirty little A word, which is the word adjustment, which is a word that a lot of people don't like. We don't like the fact that we have to make the adjustment. It's just something in us that just, I don't know. We just want it easier than what it is, I suppose. But what we don't understand is what we're becoming in the process is so much more powerful than getting to that place of promise. Like it's integral that we go through the process to become the person that can handle the promise. So all of the things that we're enduring, that we're going through, are part of us being able to handle what's being given to us, to handle inheritance, So those things that are purposed for our lives that are taking us through that process are like those uh, governors and tutors of our life, you know, to show us a way, to show us how we're to deal with particular things, you know. So we'll have the understanding. Like if I had not have gone through that process the other day with the cord going out and all of that, then I would not have become so proficient in using my phones, because I was not using the phone but for backup, using it for backup on a live that I've already got going on in the studio room on my computer is completely different than setting up a whole show, you know, setting up backgrounds, doing all of those things. That's completely different, but we have to be flexible. We have to be pliable in order to get into that place that the Father desires us to get into. We've got to be willing and able, okay, in order to get to the willing and obedient, okay? You got to be obedient. That's the word I'm looking for, not willing and able, but willing and obedient in order to eat the good of the land. So Abba gives each of us a sketch, a vision of what our lives should be, okay? The uniqueness lies in his prerogative to use any of those S.S.P.Vs, those spiritual special purpose vehicles that he desires to use, those things that align with his divine plan in that moment. It's never an announcement like I'm using this vehicle. No, he doesn't announce it. He just uses the vehicles, and we know what the vehicles are, right? The dream, the vision, the trance, the imagination, creation, or, and when I say creation, it's inspiration that comes from the things around us, right? Or an oracle, you know, just a prophetic word. And of course, we need to deal with what prophetic word looks like. I think we dealt a little bit with that, but so many people are so deluded by what the prophetic is now, because we think that anything that makes us feel good that comes out of the mouth of somebody is prophetic. And a lot of people think that the prophetic is something that they could say, that confirms this. And having a word of knowledge and a word of wisdom is different, although they are prophetic in their nature. Not necessarily the prophetic word, because a lot of times the prophetic word is not something that you readily agree with. Okay, it's not something that you readily are like, oh yeah, I want that. I mean, think about Mary. She wasn't like, hey, yeah, I want that. She said, listen, wait a minute now. You talking about me having a child and I haven't known a man yet? Okay, do you know how this is going to look? This might not look so good, you know? The prophetic challenges you as a person. It challenges you. So for those who feel they haven't received their portrait, okay, this divine portrait that I'm talking about, the proof lies in the disruptions of life and how you feel about them. You know, if you have not received the portrait, the divine portrait, then you be just okay with whatever's happening in your life. But somehow you feel like, no, that ain't how that was supposed to go. I don't think that's how that's supposed to look, right? So the mere fact that you don't feel like that's how that's supposed to go and that ain't how you think it should look says that somehow, whether it's your imagination or wherever it is in your divine imagination, I don't know, you feel like that ain't the portrait of your life that you should be seeing. So when our reality veers away from the divine portrait that's etched on the table of our hearts through prophetic cognition, which is that ability to foresee, you know, that inspiration to know something before it happens, it's embedded in all of us. An automatic reaction sets in. We discern that something is amiss, and discussions about the misalignments begin to ensue, either in the form of complaint or strategy. Okay? You got to choose which one. The declaration, this is not my life, echoes a deep understanding of the divergence from the intended course. This place is not uncommon to man. I know I have declared that in different times of my life. This is not my life. This is not how my life's supposed to look. Nope. The universal desire for elevation and progression is real, not imagined. Yet the challenge with man arises in the willingness and the unwillingness to take the necessary steps. I have mistyped some things this morning. We'll fix it. And the unwillingness to take necessary steps. Many inadvertently find themselves adapting, we were talking about the adaptation yesterday, or adjusting to their problems rather than to their divine portrait. The shift advocated today is a complete departure from adapting to issues. I want you to go more towards embracing the divine vision. Central to this transformation is the responsibility to making a mental shift, an intrinsic change anchored in the heart's position. The rallying call echoes, make up your mind. Okay? Because decision is a catalyst for change. And this is the word that the Father gave me this morning as he was giving me these words. He said, you can't allow, got typos this morning, I was typing too fast. You can't allow your mind to remain in a place you don't want your life to stay. Did you hear what I said? You cannot allow your mind to remain in a place that you don't want your life to stay. Let this be the wisdom. Let this wisdom be an invitation to seize the power of decision, aligning with the divine portrait and charting a course toward the elevated life intended by Abba. There are enemies to this decision, but you've already been given the grace for this place. Apostle Ace, what's your verdict on these things this morning?
Well, as you were talking, well, shalom to and grand rising to each and every one that is listening, and thank you for bringing me in. I'm humbled and honored to be a part of the great conversation in prayer, the kinetic prayer, and it's been awesome. I've been following. I have been enjoying the great conversation in prayer. And
Wow.
so, but as you were sharing and just going through um, uh, things that takes place in our lives,
Yeah.
and who came to mind was Joseph, and
Absolutely.
and and so as you were talking, I went to the end of the story
Yes.
where they were all in Egypt. And he testifies and shared with his brothers, and something he said in the 44th chapter, no, in
Yes.
the 50th chapter, in the 20th verse, and and
Yes.
for me, that kind of conclude everything, put a cap on everything. And he says, you intended harm against me,
Yes.
but Yahweh intended for blessings in
Yes.
order to accomplish this day the keeping alive of many people.
Oh my. That's my favorite. I promise you. To save some alive.
Right. And so I went through all these adjustments in my life to
Yeah,
save other lives,
that's it.
but had to make these adjustments. And so as we discussed the story of Joseph, and how he from the very beginning he talked too much, but the more he talked, it put him in a hole.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
he shared the dream, but that beginning of the journey of adjustment, because he had to make adjustments. And so what was intended for harm, it was
Mhm.
intended for a blessing to save many lives. And so
Yes.
with that said, as you share the discussion in this conversation, it puts us in a place of, okay, well, I'm going through this, but I
Mhm.
have to make adjustment. As you said, that dirty
Dirty little
word, a
A word.
word, the dirty little a word, because we're not prepared for adjustments. We really not.
Mm.
We're really not prepared for adjustments because we find ourselves in a fixed place of comfortability.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, there is an adjustment. And interesting enough, the closer we get, or the more we are in prayer, or things are happening with us, there's going to
Yes.
be some adjustment. Because he said,
Absolutely.
I'm going to test your house. I'm going to test
Yes.
your obedience.
Come on. Come
And
on.
so when the test comes, because the test is fire,
Come on now.
it is his fire.
It
But
is
he said,
fire.
I'm going to test you. He said, this is my test. This is not Satan. This is
No,
me.
no, that's a
Because, you know,
no.
absolutely. So he said, I'm going to test your house what you build. So there's going to be some
Yes,
adjustment. And it may come when you least expect expected. And
yes,
so those are some of the thoughts because many people's lives will be saved. So each
yes,
adjustment is a death. Each
yes, it is.
adjustment is a death for
Yes.
somebody to live.
Come on now. Come on.
You know,
And that's the way
so
of the master. That's what he showed us. Is that
mhm,
not what he showed us?
mm,
That's what he
yes,
showed us. He
yes,
said, I want you to follow what I have done. Now you don't have to do it unto the physical death, but you've got to understand that death is the way for
hmm
life. Death is the way. He said the seed falls to the ground and dies, right? If it
hmm
falls to the ground and dies, it abides alone. But listen,
mm,
if that thing falls to the ground, it's going to bring forth much. If it's alone, it's not going to produce anything. But if it falls to the ground and dies, thank you, Holy Spirit, then it's not going to be alone because it's going to bring forth many more seeds, many more
hmm
plants.
hmm
Are not often willing because I said in the statement too, brother, that what happens is we get stuck complaining, which means we become more in tune with the problem than with the promise. We start
mm,
talking about or having this fascination or this love affair, if you will, with the
hmm
issue. And that's a trick of the enemy to keep us from really enjoying the process. Because once you identify and understand the purpose of the process is for many to live, then you have to take on the mindset that the master took on, which was there's a joy that's set before me.
mm,
For the joy that is set before me, I'm going to endure this death. I'm going to go through this process because there are sons that are not sons now that are going to be sons once I'm buried. Once they
mm,
kill me and bury me, something's coming up out of this ground so strong
mm, mm,
that it will not be able to be denied. There are going to be many sons after me that follow after the
mm,
pattern. You know,
mhm,
not just after
mm,
their name or title, but these are sons that follow a pattern. He's a prototype.
mhm,
God
mhm,
made him a prototype son in the earth. And this is the pattern. What
mm,
Ace is talking about this morning, that's a pattern. You know, we've been talking about patterns and cycles, and this is the pattern.
mhm,
But
mhm,
we get so
mhm,
comfortable. Even though we say this ain't my life, we get stuck and fascinated in a love affair with the issue,
mhm, mhm,
not speaking the thing that needs to be spoken, because like you said, it's going to be tried by fire. The word talked about that honorable and dishonorable vessels, right? How do you
mhm,
know whether it's
mhm.
an honorable or a dishonorable vessel? Fire. You know,
Yes, yes,
that fire is necessary.
yes,
Here's the other
absolutely.
thing that you mentioned too, brother, that we talked about. Everything ain't the devil.
Right, absolutely.
Could you weigh in on that for a minute? Because the people of Yah have been so disillusioned through the church industrial complex and the religious
Mhm,
industrial complexes to believe that anything that feels negative, notice my words, anything
mhm,
that feels negative to them or is not,
mhm,
coming out exactly the way they think it should, is not going in the direction they think they should go, in the timing they think it should go,
mhm,
it's automatically the devil. I had
mhm,
to tell people the
mhm.
other day, this ain't the devil. My cord went out. Y'all knock it off. It's okay. Okay. You don't have to pray about it. All I need to do is buy a cord. Now, if you want to sow, if you want to give into this process, then feel free. Okay.
Mhm,
This is not the
mhm.
devil. My cord is
Right.
done. It needs to be replaced. Now, is it the enemy of what I'm trying to do? Yes. The cord being dead is an enemy of what I'm trying to do right now. However, this is not the devil.
Mhm, mhm,
Right? Okay, go ahead.
mhm.
Go ahead.
Well, what's interesting is you're right. Everything isn't the devil, and there are two things as I look at this. There's disobedience and there's
Yep.
obedience. And
Yep.
so when there's disobedience that's taking place, we put
Yes.
ourselves in a position to be
That's it.
used by the enemy. And
Yes.
so I've heard many people say, I pray and I fast. And what is going on? Why is all this happening to me? What is
Yes.
going on? And I said,
Mhm.
listen, because you're fasting, because you're praying, these things, it's not of the devil, because you're getting closer, and your life, you're becoming more conscious, and experience spiritual phenomenons, and then all of a sudden it just seems like the devil is there, but it's not the devil.
Mm-mm.
It's not the devil, because y'all said, I gotta test this house.
I gotta test
I
the
gotta
house.
tell. I gotta see if you're willing and obedient. See, because a lot of times we begin to grow, and we begin. He said, "But I gotta test you where you're at."
Mm-hmm.
Because if you get stuck there, you become so just comfortable, and
Yeah.
and and so now you find yourself so comfortable. Will you be willing to adjust to? We talk about to the next level, to the next dimension. We always talk about that, but we're not ready, because we want to take where we're at to another dimension, but you can't take that. It
Can't take
builds
it.
you up. It builds you up for the next dimension, but you have to
That's
be
it.
tested. You got to
Yeah.
be tested to see whether or not, if you're willing and obedient to do exactly what he said. So he says, now you've been praying, and you might lose a car.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, boy. Here we go. Do
Will you still have the same praise?
you still love me though?
Absolutely. See, people don't get that. Will
No.
I've been praying, and so all of a sudden there's something that coming against your children.
Oh.
There's something coming against your house. I
Uh-oh.
paid my bills, and why is this happening to me? Why
Yes.
is things happening on the job? Well,
Yes.
because you are doing everything right.
Right.
And because everything we doing everything right, everything's supposed to go right, all the dots supposed to connect, and so now we get comfortable
Yeah.
in that position, and y'all will say, wait a minute, I got to get them uncomfortable,
Yeah.
because right now, will they truly obey me if
Go
things
to the
begin to
next
go
dimension.
wrong? Hey,
Right.
come on
Right.
now.
Because the next dimension is faith to faith and glory to glory, right?
Absolutely.
So if it's faith to faith and glory to glory, that means there's something you got to a space, but there's another place above that
Mm-hmm.
that you're
Mm-hmm.
being called to, right? But if
Mm-hmm.
you get
Mm-hmm.
comfortable where you came to, then you'll never find the excitement of where you're going to. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you won't be aware or ready for the challenge that it's going to take to get you there. Because even
Mm-hmm.
with simple things like working out, right?
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
you're lifting weights, right? We don't like the pain that accompanies weights, right?
Mm, mhm,
However, in order for you to build the muscle that you need to build, you're going to have to challenge the weight that you're carrying either by load or repetition.
mhm,
You
mhm,
understand? So either it's
mhm,
going to be a heavier weight, they call this an overload, right? Uh,
mhm, mhm,
or it's going to be repetition that you're going to use to change the weight capacity,
mhm,
to change
mhm,
the challenge, right? To make it more
mhm,
challenging.
mhm,
But you're going to have to do
mhm,
one or the other.
mhm.
And it's going to hurt.
Yes,
But guess
yes.
what? Once you get past that level of pain, you become
Mm,
comfortable. Now you need to do either more reps or you need to add more weight because you will
mhm,
plateau. And the Father's
mhm,
not interested in your plateau because He's
mhm.
taking you to a place. And you're
Yes.
ever on that journey. The
Come on
beauty
now.
of it is that He's taking you the scenic route, but you're so busy complaining, right? You're so busy
Mhm, mm.
complaining about what you think is the problem, you're missing the view.
Absolutely, absolutely. My goodness.
You're missing the view. So much
And
pain.
And you know, Apostle, it's
Yes,
interesting as you're sharing this, and wait, and because that you have to become strong. Because if
yes,
you stay in a position where you're at, you become weak. You
yes,
don't want to endure the pain, because pain in the exercise and adding weight, because now it stretches and it begins to build muscle, which give you
yes,
strength to go to the next what level. And
yep,
so because if we stay at a certain weight, then you're not able to complete or be able to endure going
that's
even
it,
further, because we
that's
get
it.
weak, because our body gets comfortable at 30 pounds,
Yeah,
and suddenly say now it's time to go to 60. And so
yes,
we and so there are others who are enduring the pain of lifting weights and going further. Now I'm stuck at 30, and I
yeah,
can't do no more than where I'm at.
yeah, and
I get
complaining about
stuck. Absolutely. Absolutely. Complaining that I'm not growing, this is happening, and what
yeah,
have you, but afraid,
to go to
not
the next
willing
level.
to go to the next level.
Oh my, oh my. I love this phrase that he gave me this morning. He said,
Hmm.
you cannot allow your mind to remain in a place you don't
Mm,
want your life to stay.
mm,
You cannot allow. Now here's the thing, and we're talking about this a little bit already, but there are enemies to the decision that you're getting ready to make.
absolutely. Yes.
There are enemies. There are enemies. However, your greatest enemy is internal.
Mm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
How you think about things, how you see things, how you say
mm-hmm,
things. Okay,
mm-hmm,
your
mm-hmm,
greatest enemy is internal,
mm-hmm,
and that internal enemy is a result of the things that you have adapted to externally.
mm, mm-hmm,
Your external adaptations are dealing with your internal manifestations.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
That's what's happening. Okay. And
mm,
so we got to be more cognizant of what's going on internally. And again,
mm-hmm.
where did we get this culture from? We've been talking about culture. And a lot of people
Mm-hmm,
don't want to deal with that. They don't want to deal
mm-hmm,
with culture as it pertains to relationship. They don't want to deal with culture as it
mm,
pertains to, business. They don't want to deal with those kind of things because we want to just do whatever makes us feel good in the moment.
mm, mm-hmm,
They're
mm-hmm,
not challenging where the culture, where we derive, what culture we derive that from.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
You know,
mm-hmm,
why do I know to do this? Why do I want to do this way?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Why is this a
mm-hmm.
thing? Where did I get this idea from?
Oh my, oh my.
Where did this idea come from? Everybody wants to bypass where the idea came from. I don't understand it.
Mm-hmm. It's really amazing to me.
It's amazing.
Uh, it's something that I dealt with for years in the counseling world. I help other people, but then there was something why I do what I do.
Yes,
What made me who I am. And so,
that's it.
as you're talking about culture, there, even in the birthing process, in the womb, there is a culture
Yes,
that is unseen to the third and fourth generation.
that's it.
That why children, babies are born into the world the way they are now, opposed to 2 generations ago.
At
We are
home,
we at home. So
on the
now,
floor, or in the tub.
absolutely, there are things that we develop culture on so many levels, and so we don't even think
Mm,
about where things, because there are things that happens in our culture in the
yeah,
beginning that makes up who we are. By the time we're 3 or 4 years old, we're at the
yeah,
best of understanding what we're going to learn even as an adult.
Absolutely.
And so we
Absolutely.
create. So so I look at these area of culture, the conscious mind, the subconscious, and the unconscious mind.
Come on.
That area of the unconscious mind is a culture that
It's
is not
culture.
seen,
It's
but now
driving.
we absolutely.
It's
So
driving.
we see the results and the fruit of the
Yes.
unseen. And
Yes.
so, and I believe that that culture has to be exposed in order
Hmm.
for us to even become and be what God wants us to be. Because if not, there's that internal that's going
Mm.
to always show up and show out. And we try to figure out what's wrong with me.
Right. What in the world? What in
Yeah.
the world? I often liken this to the relationship with Abraham to Ishmael. Now,
Hmm.
that's his son, right? That's his
Yes.
son,
Hmm.
bar none. It's his son. However, he's not the promise.
Mm.
He's not the promise. Okay.
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
So
mm-mm.
because he's not the promise, when the promise shows up, we can identify the problem because now this thing that you dealt with prior to the promise is now antagonizing. You cannot let your past antagonize your promise.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
It can't happen.
What's interesting, Apostle, uh, because here's the but what he said about Ishmael, Ishmael was blessed.
He was. Father blessed
Everybody
and he
want
father, he
everybody
said,
wants
okay,
to
I'll
be
bless you,
blessed.
but he still ain't the
Every
promise.
it's still not the promise. So many people say, "I want the blessing," but if you
Woo.
got the promise,
Oh,
it is a fact of life. You don't have to want to be blessed. I'm looking to be blessed. I am blessed because I am the promise.
come on. Come on.
And so it's just interesting because people say, "Oh, I'm gonna be blessed," this and that and the other. But understand when the promise shows up, when the promise shows up, everything that's wrapped in the promise, blessings is in the promise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Yes,
people
sir.
don't. They look at the promise as something. They look at the blessings as something that it is so physical. Is it? Oh, I want the
No,
physical blessing, but it's not.
it's
The
not.
promise is eternal
Come on
because
now.
God cannot go back on what He promised.
That's it.
I I
Listen.
could take your blessing away,
Hello. Come on. Come on.
but I can't take my promise away.
No. No. Mm-mm. And this is why in Colossians chapter 3, this statement is made: set your affection on things above,
Yes, yes.
not on things on the earth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I say this all the time. The reason why the children of Israel could walk through that experience they walked through, clothes not be old, not be, not be battered by the elements, shoes not be torn up, was because they were in the dimension of the
Yes,
they were en route to
absolutely,
the promised place. He was
absolutely.
leading them. There
Mm-hmm.
was divine coverage. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Divine coverage on this whole situation, which put the super on all the natural things they possess.
Yes, yes,
So it was covered. Moth and dust couldn't corrupt it because it was covered on the insurance, the divine insurance plan. It was covered,
yes, yes,
you know.
yes.
Now we were talking about
Mm-hmm.
death because verse 3 in Colossians chapter 3 says, "For ye are dead."
Mm-hmm.
Don't nobody want that, right? Don't
No.
nobody with the wrong mind want that. Only
Mm-hmm.
the right mind, the God mind wants that. For ye
Mm-hmm.
are dead, and your life is
Mm-hmm.
hid with the
Mm-hmm.
appointment in Yah. And y'all
Mm-hmm.
know I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
change Christ every time to appointment because you know how this works. These words have been changed. That's not nobody last name. I'm telling you right now. Not
Right,
last
right.
name. Okay. It's dealing with appointments.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When we don't see our life as an appointment,
Mm-mm.
when we don't see
Mm.
our life as purpose, then we think all these
Mm.
things are just happenstance. Oh, do you see what they did to me? Oh, you see how they handling me? Oh, you listen, guess what? It's all purpose. because you got to learn how to work through those kinds of objections. I'm in sales and marketing. Sales and marketing is one of my areas, right? Expertise. And guess what? You got to learn how to deal with objections. Too many people don't know how to deal with objections, brother.
That's right. That's
They
right.
don't understand how to. Everything is a, oh, woe is me. Oh, look at my life. Oh, everything is that. Do you understand how you were created?
Yes. Oh
The
my.
image
Oh
and
my.
likeness you were created in. If you understood that, then you would stand differently. Your head wouldn't be down, your shoulders wouldn't be hunched, your back would be straight, and your head would be up because you understood the spirit that you were created in and after, and the
Oh my.
DNA that you possess
Yes.
as a son. Now, you can say sonship, but you ain't son unless you understand the DNA.
Come on
You're
now.
on your
That's
way to
it.
sonship. You might have been introduced to Yah. And I tell people all the time, what they think salvation is not that. He said, those that endure to the end shall be saved. What are you, born again? Yes. Born again, yes. You can be born again. But
And
salvation
stuck.
is the end result.
Right.
Okay?
Born again and
That's
stuck.
predicated on how you decide to live the born life
Absolutely.
of your
Absolutely.
choosing. Okay? Go ahead. I know you got something to
Yeah.
say about that.
You know, so it's interesting because a lot of times we're born again, but there's no conversion. There's no journey to the high prize, the high calling. There's no journey. And people don't take the journey once they're born again. See, because I got to move forward to continue so he says, he who's looking back to the who's plowing and looking back is not fit for the kingdom. Because
Period.
now you a period, because you can't move forward properly by looking back. In
That's
other
it.
words, my mindset, I'm here, I'm stuck. If I come in your house, you invite me in your house and says, listen, come on in, join me in the living room. But if I just stay at the door, I'm in, but I can't enjoy the house because I'm
That's
still
it.
at the door.
That's it.
You
That's
know,
it.
so
And
I got to move.
that's where many people stop. They stop at the
Absolutely.
door. They don't even come through the door. They just, oh, there's a door there.
Right. And talk about, here's a door, or open door. Well, walk in.
Walk in.
And so we got many people talking about an open door of where we're at today. I've heard many people say
Oh my. Oh my.
we are in the open door now. Okay, now there's an open door. Now what?
Now what? And what door is open? Because it's a whole lot of openings.
Yes.
You talking about
What?
doors? We're dealing with a lot of portals in this age.
Listen, you talk
Do
about
you
so
know how
many
to get
open
through the
dimensions.
door? And do you know what door you're going through? That's the
Absolutely,
question,
absolutely.
right? Because portals, there are many. Portals,
Come
there are
on
many.
now.
But are
Yes,
you
yes.
aware of your position? Whatever portal you show up in, I shared this dream before. It really was a vision, an open-eyed vision. And I was on my way to a prayer breakfast, brother, and Apostle Ben, Apostle Ace, Rabbi Ben is the gentleman speaking. So I said, who is the brother speaking? And so I began to laugh in the car, and the apostle behind me, as we were on our way to the prayer breakfast, said, what do you see? Like, what's going on, apostle? And I literally saw, it was like a pop-up station. You know, we got these pop-up shops. That's the thing. Culture, pop-up. You know, you just pop up, you set up shop, and just do the thing. And so the pop-up station was a diabolic birthing center. Okay? And so I'm standing outside of the birthing center, and I'm seeing inside. Okay? I'm seeing inside, and all of a sudden, there's a thrust. The Holy Spirit thrusts me into this portal, into this space. But when I got thrust into the space, brother, I moved all of the diabolic. So here was the scene. There's a diabolic entity laying on the table, feet in stirrups, and a diabolic entity sitting on the chair. The babies as they're coming out. When I got thrust into this portal, I sat on every chair. My individual person sat in every seat. Thrust whatever that diabolic entity was out of that space. And now I'm catching these diabolic babies and I'm throwing them to the floor, one by one. Dashing them to the floor. You understand?
Wow.
So some people be like, well, how they're questioning like, well, diabolic portals. Why would the Father send us into those spaces? You tell me. Light doesn't comprehend darkness, right?
Come on now.
My son would be thrust into a diabolic space. I've been in many spaces, and sometimes never found out. In that situation, I was never found out. I was just dealing with these diabolic babies, the destruction of these babies. But there are some situations I've been thrust into where something identified me and said, "How did you get in here? What are you doing here?
Why are you here?" Right?
Why
exactly.
Are you here?
And we are in this area now of the cycle of time.
Yes.
We are at the end of it. We're here now because we've been thrust into these areas, and these diabolical entities are saying, "Why are they know that you're coming?"
Yeah,
they know it. And so why are you here? Because number one, they don't even see the coming of who we are in the. So let me use this universe. Okay, there is that I call this paranormal realm. That is the universe that we are in. That Yah's, because many portals are open.
Yes.
Because many people are spiritual, but that don't mean they're righteously spiritual.
Come on now.
We're conscious. So as you're talking about dimensions, and so the question is, do we as humans, are we dimensional? Yes, we are. First dimension, who we are, is spiritual.
That's it.
That connects us to the spiritual realm. Then the other parts of us is what? Mental and emotional and physical and bodily and sexual.
Yes, all of those.
So now we're at an age now, in the end of age, where now, because of all the things that has happened globally, we are conscious. So when we become conscious, now we're dealing with the spiritual realm more so than ever. Many people are experiencing, they're seeing different entities they can't understand. They have those who are spiritual, diabolical in their spirituality, will begin to manipulate and give a distraction, but yet these are portals that are open. We're creating these portals ourselves.
That's it. Not even recognizing.
Absolutely.
Not even recognizing that's what's being done. Because see, when you get into that space of complaining about the circumstance, when you get into that place where you become complacent, and that's a portal within itself. The portal begins with the portal that's on your face. All the portals that's on your head. Your mouth, your ears, your eyes. Those are all portals. Those are all openings that create spaces. But a lot of times people are not cognizant of the fact that your ability to create spaces is a gift that the Father gave to you. This is how you know when something's going south in your life. This ain't how I'm not supposed to live like this. This is in other words, it's not a permanent situation. Right? So you get in that space and you say, something ain't right. And so some would say, well, I don't know about this divine picture, picture that's been given. Oh, you know, but you spend so much time complaining. You spend so much time in love with your current condition, because sometimes people just like attention.
Come on now.
You got to come out of that space where you have a need for attention because you got other boys. See, if you allow him to love you, the Father to love you like he desires to love you, and if you begin to trust his love, then you'll understand, like Joseph did, listen, this ain't the end. I'm sure happy about the pit, but he knew it wasn't his end.
Right, exactly.
Nowhere in none of those passages concerning Joseph's life do you see Joseph complaining. You know why he doesn't have a complaint? Because he has a divine vision of his life.
Absolutely. From the very beginning.
Yes.
That's interesting because we see there is something that is given us, and
Yes.
we see the expected end. And so this is when I was in religion and in the Christian church, we would get a prophetic word. This is your future. Oh my goodness. And people were like, okay. And there was a phrase I said, no, there was a phrase I would tell people, listen, the elevator is out of order. You got to take the steps on this right here, because if you take the elevator in this prophetic word of your future, you take the elevator. So now you step out of out of timing, and now you're reaching an appointment that it's not time for you to get there.
Oh my. Oh my.
And so when you get there, you experience some things, but what you're not understanding is you're out of appointment, you're out of season, and that brings on death.
Yes,
Because everything when you meet your appointed time, everything when you meet your appointed time, then when you meet that appointed time, you meet it with right language. You meet it with the right understanding, so that it will be that it will work for you, because now you're in the right time at the right place. But when you're out of timing, you bring in all the baggage.
Oh my. Oh my.
To an appointment that is not ready. You haven't even gone on the journey.
My Lord.
And so now you got a mindset. Okay, said now I'm willing, but I ain't obedient. I'm obedient, but I'm not willing.
Come on now.
So when the children of Israel came out of Egypt, so they were willing because they had how things were set up. But once they got out there, it's like, wait a minute. We know our future, but they didn't know they were the end to a word that Yah gave Abram before he became Abraham. So it was coming to that point. So now they are out there, they're complaining and blah blah blah. You brought us out here to kill us, to thirst to death, to starve us to death, and so we are out here. And I'm like, y'all, all this complaining. You're killing it. You're not gonna. The promise is gonna come forth. I promise. So people look at. See, Yahweh. The promise is perfect.
Yes, it is.
The promise is perfect. We want Him to give us the promise in an unperfect situation.
Yes.
But He has to perfect us for a perfect promise.
Come on now.
So if we're not perfected in the journey, because a lot of people prophetically get the promise, they're not perfected. They're not, and when you're not perfected, you will never receive the promise.
No, you're not going to receive it. And even when you do, because think about the second batch, they got into the promise, but they weren't able to maintain it though.
And as you said, Yahweh prophesied your demise.
He did. Yeah. So they're not gonna make it.
You said, well, why?
Like, well, why would he do that? He's Yahweh. He can do anything. Yeah, but he doesn't go past his own word. He made mankind the Lord of the earth, the God of the earth. He made us that. He said, in heaven, on earth as it is in the heavens. So what's happening in the heavens? Okay, then that's what's gonna happen on earth.
Absolutely.
He is sovereign, but he's not in charge. Now that for religious people, that's a problem. Okay?
Yes.
You want to say that he's in charge, and he's saying, no, I'm not in charge. I am sovereign. And I put in charge the people for the age that I put in charge. Now, what they do with the charge is going to determine their outcome.
Listen, I'm telling
He's
you.
so much not in charge, right? That he allowed mankind to do whatever they desired to do and mess themselves up, because people think, oh, he just flooded the earth. No, mankind did that.
Absolutely.
Did that.
Absolutely.
Their sin opened those portals. Their sin opened up that wrath.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know, their desire
And
to switch and change everything that he created because it wasn't supposed to
mm,
work that way is what created the issue.
absolutely.
And I,
Absolutely.
look, brother, here's another dimension of the issue. When we're talking about
Uh-huh.
those situations where we get stuck in those places, who's with us? Because you brought up the children of Israel. Who was with them?
Mm, come on
The
now.
mixed multitude.
The mixed multitude. Absolutely. And that's what got him. Listen, that mixture, that lukewarm will listen, messes everybody up
Come
because
on now.
it's the knowledge of righteousness and evil, the knowledge, the
Come
knowing
on.
of what is
Oh,
right and what's wrong. And
wait a
I'm trying to
minute.
operate.
Wait a minute. I'm so glad you brought that up because that was something the Father was talking to me about the other day. He said, look at the difference here. He said, I made them wise. So her
Hmm.
battle was between the wisdom of a thing and the knowing of a thing.
Come on now.
She
Hmm.
was battling with just operating in wisdom
Hmm.
and having knowledge. The war
Mm.
was between knowledge and wisdom.
Hmm.
But the knowledge of what? You understand?
Exactly.
The
Come on
knowledge of
now.
something other than versus the wisdom of what was already operating.
Hmm. Hmm. Oh my. Oh
That
my.
mixed
See,
multitude is battle.
that but see the knowledge of righteousness and evil. And so
Yes,
that mixture is a death. It's a slow spiritual death. It's
it
no
is.
strength in it at all.
Oh,
So
it's
they
like
had
clay, iron and clay.
absolutely, absolutely. So you have this situation when they out there, and it was a mixed multitude. Now y'all had already told them you're going to be there in Egypt. Your people going to be in a place that they're going to be there for 400 years.
Yep.
And so you come into Egypt 70 strong and leave out of Egypt over 1 million strong.
Oh
But
my.
that's our multiplication. But
Mm-hmm.
then the people that now that you begin to mix with, like
Yep.
with Abraham, with Ishmael, mama, I forget,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jesus was an Egyptian, and so
Ishmael baby
now
mama.
come on now. So now you got all this going on. And so
Yeah.
now you out here in the wilderness was not supposed to be what when Yahweh prophesied, he said, you're gonna be there for 40 years. Cause I
Yeah.
sent spies to go to spy out the promised land, and you come back, only 2 came with a good report, and the
Oh
other
my.
10 came and said, now for each day that you were there, you're gonna be in the wilderness a year.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
He
For each
already
day.
let us know that you're going to suffer.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And so
Oh yeah.
now they're out there. And so now there are things that are happening because the mindset
Ah,
of the mixture, they're not strong at all in their
come
journey
on.
or their decisions.
Come on. They are
And so
weakening the whole situation.
like you said, that whole area of the wilderness was a new dimension. It was a spiritual dimension.
It was.
Why? Because he done the signs and wonders that for
Yes.
them that they, like you said, the shoes did not wear out, the moth did not wear out, the clothes they were, and they had
Ooh,
everything spiritually for them.
they were protected. I mean, what's in
Absolutely.
that wilderness is vicious. It's
Hmm.
vicious animals in the wilderness. He
Then that
protected.
mixture.
He covered them. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He covered them. But then that mixture starts showing up and showing out.
Oh we.
And it made them earthly.
Oh
It
we.
took them out of a dimension
Mm.
that now Yahweh is not pleased.
Yeah. It made the dimension common.
Absolutely. And
Mm.
they couldn't go no further than where they were.
Oh my God. My God.
But
Mm-mm.
he always going to birth something out of that to continue for the promise to come forth.
Mm. Mm-mm.
Oh my goodness.
So that's the question. Now here go the other question. Who's with us?
Absolutely.
We got to look at that.
Who?
That's real.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
okay, who are we connecting to? Who are we connected to? All of those
Mm.
things matter. Where most people say, "Oh, well, that doesn't matter." The promise is a promise. It is a promise, but who's with you? Because your mindset is going to be challenged or changed by the voices that you're with.
Wow. Yes. Yes. Oh
If your
my.
circle is creating a cycle, okay, and only a change of circle creates a new cycle. Ask Paul in Acts,
Yes.
I believe 19. He's coming out of a space. They didn't beat him to the death. You hear me? Threw him out of the city for dead. And they were standing around him. A circle of death was standing around him. But when the disciples showed up, when the apostles showed up and surrounded him, he got up like nothing happened.
Like nothing happened.
A circle of life. Okay?
Wow.
Because who's with you? Sometimes the biggest challenge is not the fact that you're being processed, but who's with you while you're being processed. Because how they see the process this could be a problem. That could be potentially projecting something on you. It's making it difficult for you to go through.
Come on now. Come on. Ooh-wee. Yes, yes. And I believe in each area of dimension in the realm that we're in brings on a people that's going to either be a hinder to you or be a blessing to you for the next area you're going to.
That's right.
Because because there's a journey that we need people. We need an enemy.
Yeah, we gotta have one.
We gotta have that enemy.
Come on now.
And then the thing about it is when that enemy come, are we still focused and are we steadfast and unmovable in the things that has been given us, or we begin to listen or take in what the enemy is saying and begin to connect on their level of thinking?
That's it. That's it. Because that's a deviation from that prophetic cognition.
Absolutely.
Because there's a vision that was given. There's a word that was given. There's something that was received to let you know a path. But here we go. What's the enemy want to do? He wants to come and cloud the thing that the Father has shown you. But he also wants to deal with your focus. He wants to bring other things into view. Other thing, another perspective, even of what the Father already said. And this is how people get stuck. How do you get stuck in a place when you are so multifaceted? We're multifaceted beings. So many facets. But we only want to see one or two. You don't even want to challenge who you really are. You don't even want to check. See, that they do this in the movies, but darkness understands this, right? Darkness understands this. In the movies, how they show a superhero is you got to push. When they get that push, they get pushed into that corner and they can't figure out a way out. They change.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then they are aware, wait a minute. I wasn't aware of this ability. But you know what? They were stepping out of the comfort zone because they didn't have anything else to do.
Absolutely.
Religious people in that space, they just gonna bow.
Absolutely. They bow to the sound.
Not in that religious mindset, they gonna come out swinging. Something gotta happen.
Come on, listen. I often think about mothers and with their children. I've seen mothers with their supernatural strength.
Lift the car.
And I've seen, come on now. And I've seen where mothers have the energy and power, and because a lot of times when I see that, they usually stick out their hand, or right hand or both of their hands, and stop. And how they become the actual power that's in their hand to stop an enemy. Just like when Moshe lifted up his hands, as long as his arms and hands were lifted up in the heavens, then the war on the ground was being won.
Oh my God.
So the body is multi-purpose purpose, multidimensional. And so then, as you said, when we get, so a lot of times the superhero don't realize until they come into a place of urgency, of
Yeah,
darkness, complete
challenge.
darkness, till they have to die. When they die, then the super becomes a greater on their natural.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In that moment, they realize I got to do something different. I
Absolutely,
cannot
absolutely.
stay on this playing field. In order for
Mm,
me to survive this, I got to come above it.
mm,
But most
mm.
people aren't willing to take that leap. They're just not willing. You know,
Absolutely.
I was watching a movie yesterday that I've seen
Mm-hmm.
before. You know about this movie, brother. The Adjustment Bureau, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I noticed in the movie, and I think I talked about this the other day when we were in Torah, this is such a powerful position. We're going back to relationship for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
When Yaakov came to Laban's house,
Mm-hmm.
something happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that happened when he saw Rachel is he took charge of the well. Then he took charge of the burden, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he wanted to make her his wife, but he took charge of the responsibility that she had.
Mm-hmm.
He did not allow her to bear the burden of that anymore. She was a shepherdess, but when he showed up, he became the shepherd.
Mm-hmm.
He
Mm-hmm.
took the weight off of her. And when I was watching this movie last night that I've seen before, I love the movie.
Mm-hmm.
This same thing rang true. Same thing. He said, listen, he took charge. He said, now, I'm going to go through this other door. I got to explain some things to you, but I'm going to go through this other door. Now, what I want is you by my side. I need you to make a decision. What I see is the responsibility or the weight being on the man to take charge of the future of the person that they're connected to. So why am I saying this? Because the Father has already said, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. He said, listen, come with me.
Come on.
Come on. Give me your hand. Come with me. I want you by my side. I'm going to go through this door and I want you with me when I go. Are you with me? Do you trust me?
You make that decision. Yes, yes, yes.
Trust me. We can go through this door and we can. I love the thing that the man said. He said, listen, he said, how about I go to the top and find the person who created this whole scenario?
Right. Let me go to the Father.
Let me ascend to the dimension that I need to ascend to.
Come on. Absolutely.
The rule.
Come on now. That's
because,
it.
Listen, something's wrong with this rule here. Something's going on with this. This judgment ain't right.
Come on now.
So I need to get into a posture or a position of prayer so I can deal with, right? I'm making it spiritual now. So I can deal with this matter that I'm looking at. I don't have understanding of this.
That's
I
all.
see this differently. So if my view needs to be changed, then change it. But I got a position in my mind. I see. I've got a divine vision.
Come on now.
A divine picture. A divine portrait in my head.
Come on.
It look like
oh my.
I'm not understanding all this fight I got about this thing because where I am, I'm settled. He wasn't willing to take the word of others, and it was a whole lot of enemies against that thing.
Come on now. Come on.
You know? So you're going to have enemies. But
yes.
Divine picture.
Yes.
What is
absolutely.
The portrait of your life that has been shown to you?
Yes.
You gotta go back there. That means you gotta make an adjustment from this place of complaining.
Come on.
Understanding that your process is about purpose. Your process is about the person that you're becoming to save others. Your process is about the future you. I want you to reverse engineer something, right? I'm going to reverse engineer something because I do this. And I'm getting back to this because I haven't done it in some time, but I found myself going back to it. I talk to the future me all the time.
Yes.
And you know what I say? What would you tell if you was talking to the future you? How would you tell the future you to get where you got?
Come on now. Ooh, see
what would you say to you today from the future you? What would be your conversation on how to get there? Because he's already shown you the end of the thing. But you might be in the middle. It depends on where you're at, because as life is progressing, you're stepping into different dimensions. And you know, that faith to faith and glory to glory. So we're always moving.
Yes.
Always advancing. Right? We're not getting stuck, we're advancing. So where are you in the next process? Wherever you are, I want you to deal with the future you and find out how to get there. Because sometimes you got to reverse engineer the situation.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
even that is a divine movement of Yah. It's prophetic cognition at work.
Absolutely.
That's what it is.
Wow.
Listen, brother, we're coming to a close.
I know.
Say something to the people.
Listen, I'm afraid to say something because we'll probably go into another section. No.
Say something that's not going to make us keep going.
Oh my goodness. You just opened up a whole nother understanding of some things. And so as you were talking about the movie, and here is because we as the body to the head, we make it. He said, listen, here I am.
Yeah.
We have to make a decision. When we make a decision and trust him blindly and says, okay, I'm going with you. I trust you. I trust you no matter, unconditional trust. Yep. I trust you. And so when I look at that, and I'm looking at the time because I don't want to go. So it's interesting because Yeshua as a high priest came in, because a high priest wear 8 garments and a regular priest wear 4. The high priest represents male and female.
Yes.
So Yeshua came into the world as a high priest, and what part does he play? To show us, to make a decision. He came in as the female to make a decision to walk blind faith and trust in who he's bringing us back to, with the Father.
The husbandman, the true husband.
Absolutely. And so when I trust you, no matter what. So if there's a problem, I come to the throne.
Yes.
I'm coming straight to the head. So, but anyway, so that's all I got to say.
That's good. Straight to the head, right? No chaser. It's got to be straight to the head. And so we cannot complain when we have not really explored or expounded on a thing that's been given. You know?
Yeah.
You cannot complain. You need to focus on the thing that's before you to get to the place that the Father's ordained you to be at. And it's just what it is. It's not a one-off. It's not just these specific little pieces or components. No, it's a relational dynamic, including all of those components, right? When we see it the right way, we'll become the right thing for the right place at the right time. Listen, I love you. I bid you favor, sons of Yah today. And listen, the body is not a me thing. It's a we thing. We thank y'all for Apostle Ace this morning. We thank y'all for him and being here with us this morning. Your voice a bit more this season. And I'm excited to have him here with us. Until we meet again tomorrow, we bid you shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.